Hey there, it's Bridget Lynn Dolgoff coming to you from the steel white Buffalo van. Anyway, I'm getting ready to start writing a article in a local animal magazine called What's the Alternative is my column. And I just submitted the article. It's a simple article, but it's still going to be pretty hi-ya. Anyway, it's going to be here in the Reno area. As soon as the article goes into the magazine, I can release it on my website. Basically, for a long time, I've been doing research on vaccines. And at this point, I'm an anti-vaccine person. There's just too much. If you start researching, it's just not, it doesn't really have a good track record. And the science that is produced is lies. And also from farming, and what I've learned from biodynamic farming and how, how we're not living in public, like in accordance with nature. If we lived in more natural settings, we wouldn't have a lot of these problems with viruses and this, that, and the other thing. So I wrote the article on, it seems like to me you can talk about anything about dogs or cats or horses or animals. But there are things that you can't write about that goes publicly or published into even health magazines or wellness magazines. There's only certain things that you can actually say. So basically, the importance of a lot of the study I've been doing for, 3 or 4 years on animal vaccines is kind of frightening, actually. And the number one thing I want to bring to people's attention is dogs in particular are getting given vaccines of different kinds of viruses that are cultivated in cats. This is how they cultivate them, in like some in the kidneys of cats, and this is how they create the inoculation that they're going to give to dogs. Well, viruses that cats have are going to include themselves into the vaccine. So right now, the new information that's coming out with animal medical researchers, holistic animal vets. Hold on a second. No. We have a bad dog approaching. So she's like saying, it's an emergency bad dog, right? So anyway, so the thing that people should be most horrified about of the research that is coming out is that all the viruses that dogs are given in vaccinations have a minimum of a 7-day shed rate. Hold on, I'm trying to hold the dog in, Anyway, so what that means is that this virus is live in the dog for 7 days, and it is shedding its virus self through the dog's body for 7 days. Saliva, urine, feces, coughing, runny nose, all these different things puts this virus live into its environment. So you get the dog inoculated, then you are most likely going to get an animal virus. And they are showing that people are getting these animal viruses. So what would happen? Well, let's talk about H1N1 and also the other mutated avenues. I think the big one this year that almost killed a lot of people, or did kill a lot of people, was H2N3. H1N1 actually damages your heart. It's been shown in cases where people have gotten heart murmurs, damaged heart, leaky valve, all kinds of crazy heart problems. You know why? Because H1N1 is a swine flu. It's a pig flu. It was never meant to cross into the human, environment. So, of course, you're going to be mutilated from it. Of course, it's going to be impossible to get over. So now you have these vaccines that they're giving dogs, over 100 of them, I read, and these viruses humans are getting. So say, for example, you get one of the viruses that the dogs are getting because the dog sleeps on your bed. It licks your plate after you're done eating. You pick up its poop every day. You're walking barefoot in the grass where it pees in your backyard, or in your house, or you clean up the dog vomit or whatever else is going on. And you get the virus and you just start feeling weird, right? So you keep going to the doctor. Well, you know what? The medical establishment does not have tests unless a test is created like H1N1 or Asian bird flu virus. These dog and cat viruses that are being given to them through vaccines are not on the medical radar. So you keep going in and getting tests and they never figure out what's wrong with you. So now you have this crazy live virus that, number one, you're probably never going to get rid of. And number two, is doing all kinds of crazy things, probably destroying your kidneys, could be destroying your heart, could be destroying your mind because it's a virus that you don't get and your body can't identify it and your body doesn't really know what the hell it is. So you'll never be in the hospitals or going to the doctor. There's never going to be a test for them to figure out what you've been exposed to. I mean, it's just been like in the last 8 years that they actually have a legitimate hepatitis C test. Before then, they said nobody had hepatitis from all of the heroin usage and all the drugs, and it's only been within like the last 8 years that they actually have an accurate test for hepatitis C. So you go get your dog vaccinated annually. They give them all these vaccinations. You bring them home. And now you're exposed to, not only is it hazardous for your dog because your dog is getting cat viruses and other viruses, that it doesn't really know how to deal with. And then your dog is basically a viral transmitter in your home, in your yard, around your kids. So you're pregnant and you get, you take your dog to the dog vet and it is shedding, it has the live virus and it takes 7 days to shed. And you're early onset of pregnancy. Well, that virus, you could get one of those viruses and you could have a major miscarriage. Your baby could have major chromosomal damage. The implications are enormous. Huge. And then if it goes untreated during your whole pregnancy, do the math. It's pretty scary. It's actually scared me more than people getting vaccines and autism and all the other things that the vaccines are creating. They're putting viruses into your environment using your animals because of your stupidity and lack of study and research that can cause serious human damage, especially if left untreated. You have no idea what these viruses can do. Look at what's that venereal disease that has made a huge comeback. And if it's left untreated, your fingers fall off, your nose falls off. You basically, go bat crap nuts and die. Syphilis. We're still dealing with syphilis in our environment. So the thing is like only you can stop paying your vets that are pressuring you to have these vaccines because it's all about the money. And I think the really big conspiracy is the pharmaceutical companies and let's call it the New World Order agenda. And they have another way of killing you by giving you animal viruses, by giving your animals vaccinations that are harmful for them too. And then your animals, everywhere you walk them, spread these viruses during those 7 days, all over your house, all over your yard, wherever you walk them, they're in contact with each other. And so now you're contaminating all the environment around you and wherever you go. I mean, when are people going to start paying attention, educating yourself? Where is your personal responsibility? I mean, I have to fight constantly having to go to new vets because vaccines are like they try to force them on me. And I understand that vets have to comply with the city and state, but vaccines are under what's called a recommendation. It is even law. So for your vet to force you into vaccinating your animals, overkill, like, just like people, you should only need one vaccine, right? So a dog, most studies show that a rabies vaccine not only lasts for 7 years, but in some cases lasts for life because some animals don't live past 7. So, you get your puppies vaccinated. The top medical researchers and animal say that at 16 weeks, not 6 weeks, 16 weeks, because you don't want to damage the dog. You don't want to give it, doggy autism. So at 16 weeks, the dog should be go through all the initial important vaccines, but they're going to have a live viruses. They're live viruses for 7 days, each one. And you have to take that into consideration. Do you have a toddler? Do you have a small child? Are you pregnant? Well, then you may need to, while you're doing that, you may need to have your dog kenneled in the backyard while they have the initial injections for 7 days to 10 days. So that the live viruses are not in your environment and your kids and your babies are not picking them up. I can't even imagine, an adult fighting one of these viruses, but no way that a child could. And like I said, the medical community won't be able to tell what is wrong. The medical community won't have anything to treat it because it's a cat disease. The more serious ones are cat viruses that they're using cats to create the vaccines and the viruses to give dogs, which is shouldn't even happen because it's not even a dog vaccine. So please do the research. Please do the math. Please, 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 please. This could kill a lot of kids. It could give them certain kinds of cancers. There's been studies that have come out in the last 10 years that cats are carriers of leukemia, and people can get that leukemia. So what if they're making these vaccines from cats that have leukemia and they're giving it to the dog? And so now the dog is a carrier of the leukemia for 7 days until it sheds it off, or maybe it holds on to that virus because it's a secret dormant virus in the vaccine. And then you get it. And they're saying that people are contracting leukemia virus from cat feces. So that means wherever the cat walks after it comes in the house or the cat box, at some point in time, its feet have been involved with its own feces. So, do the math. Think about what's happening. Because you're getting your dogs vaccinated, which is harming them, and then it could kill you. It could kill your children. It could damage your fetus beyond repair. Wow, it's just so unbelievably shocking. Why am I ever shocked about stuff like this that I find or that I'm study or I do research on? I don't know why it shocks me anymore. Because you know what? It is a conspiracy. How can that not be a conspiracy? In some kind of way to kill off the population without even any of it being even detected in the medical field. Even if you have honest doctors, they're not going to be able to figure it out because the testing is not going to include these viruses. My dog's upset because I'm yelling. I'm so upset about this. Now, I could get blocked on my first article in this local magazine here in Reno. It's a good thing I saved it. Who knows what'll happen. I have a feeling that it'll probably get published in the magazine, and then I might get fired from writing articles. I hope that there's going to be enough people that support this article in the Reno area, that they call the magazine and just say, hey, we want to have more of her work. We want to see more of Bridget Dolgoff writing in this animal magazine, so that I can, bring topics to the surface that are affecting us and our environment, and the animal people will listen. Maybe the animal people will do something. I always say that the farmers will save the world. So anyway, but it's all of us working together and refusing to participate. If you're vet, you start doing research and you start finding that these, on your own, that these viruses for yourself do in fact cross into the human domain, and they could be uncurable in humans, and they could do a lot of damage to children and babies, then it's up to you to say no to your vet and provide that research to your vet. And he needs to refute it. It's his job to refute that information, come up with real scientific data. And he's not going to be able to, because he's told what to do, just like medical doctors are told what to do. If you don't want the vaccine, apply the pressure. Oh, and if you don't want that vaccine, the next time you go in for surgery, we'll give you all your vaccines that you need up to date, including whooping cough. Now you go into surgeries right there on the form. It says that they will give you, they will look into your file, and while you're asleep getting your, surgery, they will give you all of your vaccines that you need up to date. So if you haven't had the whooping cough or the chicken pox or the other bullshit crapola, let me just think, lost my track. I'm sitting where my dog is like barking at people. What's the other one? Oh, the herpes. I mean, it's all the same disease. Chicken pox, smallpox, herpes, shingles. That's it. The other bullshit single. So if you haven't had a lot of the vaccines, when you go in for surgery, they will give you all of your vaccines up to date. And they won't even tell you that they did it, because it's included in the medical release that you sign when you go into the hospital for a surgery. So anyway, I hope that this has helped you. And yeah, I don't know what is going to scare people enough to stop listening to these authoritative figures about how their life should be, how they should raise their children, how they should medically treat themselves, their animals, their children, their environment. But, we've got to really wake up, because they're coming at us in all directions, and people aren't even remotely aware. This is Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Consciousness of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Have a great day.